So my last population video got up to China, so I'm going to try and finish that topic today. I'm using the revision guide the school provided for us to print instead of my notes because it's probably a bit more condensed and easier to follow, and hopefully I won't start rambling on about something obscure like I normally do. So continuing on from China, the next case study about controlling the amount of children born is Kerala. While Kerala is in southwest India and the adult literacy is 91%, which is compared to 61% as in India as a whole and 96% in the USA. The life expectancy for males is 69 in Kerala. For India as a whole, it's 67, and for the USA, it's 74. And for females, in Kerala, it's 75, in India, it's 72, and in the USA, it's 80. The infant mortality rate in Kerala is significantly lower than in India as a whole. It's 10 in Kerala, but 33 in India. And then to compare Kerala to the USA, in the USA, it's 7. And the birth rate is also comparably lower to India as a whole, and actually quite similar to the USA's. In Kerala it's 17, in the USA it's 16, and in India as a whole it's 22. So as you can see by hearing these figures, Kerala is a lot more developed, or seems a lot more developed, and sounds a lot more like an MEDC than India as a whole. The population in Kerala is 32 million and it's densely populated and very poor, but they have followed population policies that have prevented a rapid rise in population. They've made political decisions to invest in education and women's health. Almost all villages have access to medical care and schools within 2.5 kilometres. And the area relies less on farming and more on service industries like tourism. Farming results in needing more children to help, so the less farming, the less families are going to need children to help them. The impact of this is that Kerala now compares favourably to India in public services. They have better roads, schools, post offices and banks. Women's health and education are the best in India. Attitudes towards women are now positive, and more girls are in higher education than boys. Women marry on average 4 years later and have their child 5 years later than other Indian women. They only have 2 children on average, and infant mortality is low. So this is obviously really good for Kerala. Not only is it helping improve quality of life in the country as a whole, it's giving women a chance, I guess, and dealing with the population problem by educating women. There's a very strong link, if you haven't quite noticed. This has controlled the growth in population, healthcare provision and education were key to this. The main difference between China and Kerala was that population was controlled through the choice of people, and they're not forced. Kerala is likely to face similar problems to China in that they will have an ageing population. Obviously, because if people are having less children, it's eventually going to get to the point where we have an aging population. We have an aging population. It just kind of eventually gets to that point. Like, it's alright for a bit, but yeah. So the problems with an aging population are health and fitness. Older people suffer from more degenerative diseases such as cancer and heart disease. Housing. Older people need specially adapted homes. Bungalows, wide doorways, lower kitchen units for those in wheelchairs. And there's an increase in care needs. Old people might need to be placed in sheltered accommodation, which is their own home, but with carers' visits for specific needs, or nursing homes where all needs are looked after. This is going to cost the government a lot of money to fund. Pensions, well, they will claim for longer, and we're not really going to be able to afford it, because if there's less people working, paying taxes, and there's like more people older needing pensions, it's just, yeah, you can see the problem. Fewer workers. There's less young people to work and generate income. Less income from income tax and national insurance will be paid to the government. So we're not going to pay for old people because there's like the working group of people, which is like, I don't know what age is working group of people, but it's like us, under 15s, and then there's the working group of people until you're like 65 or something, just say. And because we have an aging population, like if you look at our population pyramid, you've probably seen it in class, our majority is in middle-aged at the moment, but they will eventually get older and our majority will be like aging population. We are, yeah. So what can be done about an aging population? Well, the Labour government in 2009 launched a strategy called Building a Society for All Ages. The table on the right, this table summarises what they have done, and I will read that out. It'd be better to use Sweden as a case study for trying to cope with an aging population. But this strategy, okay, so part of the strategy is having the later life you want. It's offering free NHS health checks to people in England aged 40 to 70 to encourage them to maintain and improve their health and fitness. Older people at the heart of families, providing financial help for grandparents who care for grandchildren, engaging with work and the economy, review the age at which people retire, which, as you know, they're constantly changing the retirement age. Improving financial support, provide extra winter fuel payments for the elderly, better public services for later life, introduce a health prevention package to bring together things like flu vaccinations or cancer checks, building communities for all ages, working with developers and architects to build homes suitable for older people with doorways wide enough for wheelchairs. So, Sweden have also coped with an aging population, and Sweden is in stage 5 of the demographic transition model, and it has a population growth rate of almost 0, and its fertility has dropped from 2.1 in 1989 to 1.5 by 1999. To combat this aging population, they introduced the following measures: 13 months paid paternity leave for fathers at 80% of their salary, extra money if couples had less than a 30-month gap between children, child benefit for each child, sick childcare, 120 paid days per year per couple, and all-day childcare and all-day schools. These policies are described as pro-natalist. France also do this. I don't have the exact details memorised, but basically you get like 3 years paid maternity leave or something, and it's kind of mad. Let's find it. Right. Yeah, so couples are given 3 years paid parental leave for their children, and it's fully paid full-time schooling for children aged 3 plus. There's subsidised childcare and early retirement age for women with more children. In the past, contraception was banned, but this led to a huge feminist uproar and it was unbanned. So you have France and Sweden to use if you accidentally forget one. So in terms of the UK's population, well, our population is ageing, and the old, which is over 85, has risen considerably. The average age of the UK population was 35 in 1983, but it was 40 in 2009. Yes, young people have to support the pensioners. This is a similar situation to that found in many other MEDCs. It's worth noting key terminology which is related to the population pyramid. So here you can see them really dodgy population pyramids. Anyway, so the population pyramids. You all know what a population pyramid is. Okay, so the lowest bars show the young dependents, those under 15 years. The middle bar between the ages of 15 and 64 are the economically active population or working population. The top bars over 65 show the elderly dependents. Clearly, an increase in the elderly dependents will cause problems as the people of working age will have to support them. The dependency ratio provides an actual figure to show how many people depend on the working population. So it's children under 15 plus elderly over 65 divided by the working population times by 100. So it's like percentages basically. The higher the number produced by the formula, the worse it is. In 2007, the UK had a dependency ratio of 61. What bit is it next? So how else can the population of a country change? Natural increase has been the way that has been described so far in these pages. However, migration is another key aspect that needs to be considered. So why do people migrate? Well, migration is the movement of one place to another. It can be illegal, legal, between regions within a country or between countries. It can be forced if you're a refugee, or voluntary, seasonal, or permanent. The reasons for people moving are a mixture of push and pull factors. So push factors push you out of the country, and pull factors draw you into the country. So a push factor could be not enough jobs, low wages, poor education opportunities, poor healthcare, war with another country, a civil war, a drought or a famine. Pull factors could be hope of finding a job, higher wages, better healthcare, better education, better standard of living, family links, and lower crime and safety. So the case study for this is Polish migration to the UK. Okay, so in Poland, the GDP per capita is 20,450, and in the UK it is 36,970. So we are better off. Yes. Because GDP, as you know, is gross domestic produce. We will go through that some more when I make a development video. Life expectancy in Poland is 74, and in the UK it's 77, so it's slightly better. Doctors per 1,000 people. In Poland it's 2.2, and in the UK it's 2, so it's roughly the same. Slightly better in Poland. Adult literacy in Poland is 99.7%, and the UK it's 100%, so we are more literate, slightly. Again, that's about the same. So since 2004, Poland was admitted into the European Union. No one's really sure how many Polish people have migrated. It's an estimate of about 1 million. Many have gone to the big cities, but also in rural areas to find work on farms. As you know, immigrants generally tend to take the jobs we don't want, like on farms, which we don't want. Why do they do this? Well, money. As a result, the Poles are classified as economic migrants. The Polish migrants tend mostly to be men and young. 85% are below 34. 30% had a degree or similar qualification. Only 15% wanted to stay permanently. Most are seasonal workers or had come for a few years to make money. The impacts of this are having a hard-working workforce, often where there are skills shortages, contribute to the local economy and can support our ageing population. They tend to be young, so this helps our dependency ratio. However, crime, strains on local services, obviously because if Polish people come and they can't speak English, and not all people are particularly good people and turn to crime. In general, not all people are particularly good people. And there's not enough places in schools apparently in some areas as it is. But it kind of depends where you live, I think. So for Poland, this stimulates growth because of the money sent home. And there's lower unemployment. However, there's labour shortages in Polish industries because they're all coming here. So now Poland are having problems finding plumbers and firemen and stuff. And people have been invited from other countries to fill labour shortages in Poland. However, people have started to go back as the UK economy stagnates and the Polish economy improves. The recession resulted in roughly half of Eastern Europeans to return home by the end of 2008. So, the best example to use for refugees would be Afghanistan, which the war led to a great deal of migration. Even before this war, the country had been a very hard place to live due to conflict, poverty, corruption, and lack of jobs. All these factors resulted in many of the Afghans wanting to leave. Many went to Pakistan and Iran, but others attempted the difficult journey to the UK to only end up in the jungle. So what was the jungle? Well, refugees should stay in the first country they come to, but many tried to access the UK. The jungle was an informal settlement that grew up on wasteland outside Calais in northern France. Approximately 800 Afghans were situated there in August 2009, just waiting for a chance to get into the UK. They either smuggled in to stow away, hide in lorries or on trains. Many of these were arrested and the camp destroyed, but were simply released. Many just returned to northern France in an attempt to get to the UK. And obviously with refugees there's a lot of stuff around, like whether they're allowed in the country or not, and it's really complicated, and quite a few refugees are refused, but then other refugees are allowed. There's like all these checks to make sure they're genuine and everything, and yeah. So that is all for population. Bye.